am here with James Vanblitterswyk, and we're in a small town south of Ottawa. It's the town of Lynn, and James is an HO scale model railroader that we met some time ago at our get-togethers with the St. Lawrence Division of the NMRA up in Ottawa. He's a member of that organization. And I've come down to have a look at his railroad today so we could get a sort of an introduction to the fun things he likes to do, and also maybe do some operations and see the trains running through the scenes. So how are you doing today, James?
Very good, thank you.
So this is a very interesting railroad. How did you come up with the ideas in the first place to go with this modern scheme?
Well, it's totally fictional, but for a number of years I lived in Calgary, going through the mountains, Calgary to Vancouver, and I just love the scenery there, and I like big mountains and long trains.
Right.
So that's kind of where the idea came from. It's obviously too big of an expanse to model all in one area, so it has to be fictional. And so the idea is you come in off the prairies and through the mountains and end in Vancouver on the coast.
It's a modern scheme. It's rather an up and coming thing these days. People are moving out of that first generation diesel. I guess it's you're the new era of model railroader, and this is the kind of thing that you've seen in your life in reality.
Yeah, Lynn is very close to the CN main line between Montreal and Toronto, so yeah. I grew up in this area and lived with big CN trains going through town, the town of Brockville.
This layout is quite interesting. I was just looking at it through the lens of the camera here, and I see to a large extent it's built in and framed in with valances, and you've got curtains on the bottom, so it's like a museum kind of approach to the whole look of the room.
That's the effect I was going for, yeah. I've read things about that, and I like that effect, and the black valance and the black curtains underneath draw your eye into the scenery where the light is centered.
It looks like you've got a round the room concept here. What is the size of the layout in the room itself?
The room is 25 by 26.
Yeah.
We built this house ourselves, and I drew the plans myself.
Yeah.
So you'd almost say the house is built around the layout room.
Don't we all wish we had that sort of thing?
And there's about 160 feet of main line total. So I had an original idea of the size of it, and I didn't have plans per se, but yeah, I designed the layout room, or the house around the layout room.
Now the concept of the operation of it, is it around the room in the context of continuous running, or is it point to point? What sort of format is it on?
It is. I wanted to have continuous running.
Yeah.
But as the layouts progressed, I realized that I needed some sort of all points west and all points east staging area, so that's yet to come. The layout's about half of it's scenic,
right,
and I'd say 3/4 of the track has been laid.
Okay.
So the staging yard is yet to come. So from the prairies east, we'll go into the staging yard, and terminating at the coast, we'll go into the staging yard.
I was just looking at your town that we're sitting next to here. There's lots of big structures here. I guess you've scratch built a lot of them, or are they kit bash, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I like that. I don't, you buy a kit and it's, you build it and it looks the same as everybody else's. So what I like to do is kit bash it, or combine kits together, or even that building there it's totally scratch built. brick printed off on the computer and styrene just put together that way.
How long have you been model railroading?
I've been model railroading since, I would say, 1990.
Right.
As a kid, I had trains and did attempt a couple of smaller layouts, but nothing to this extent, no.
I guess once you settle in, then you can start to look at a larger railroad, but you'd moved quite a bit, I guess, in your earlier days. And,
yeah, I've had a lot of addresses in my life, so this is it's time to stay put. And,
I noticed that your shirt you're wearing is probably indicative of one of those trips and places that you lived.
This is true. I wanted to put this on for my friends in the Netherlands.
Yes.
I moved there, and once I got there, I was looking for people that were interested in North American trains. They modeled in N scale, and they were into N track. So we had a couple of the guys, Lars and Hans, came over one day in the backyard, and we hit it off, and that's what model railroading's all about, right? It's making friends, and on a trip a few years back, they presented me with this shirt, and so I just wanted to bring that up, and their name of their club is the PH and LF Railroad Association, and they have a website if you're interested in looking.
Taking us for a tour of your layout, and then we'll see what you've done. So you've chosen this large yard here as a starting point on our little tour of your layout here. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's made to represent?
It represents the city of Edmonton, I guess you could call it, coming off the prairies into Edmonton before the mountains.
Yes.
So a lot of grain trains and scratch building a grain elevator there that's not complete. But,
and as we move along here, so there's a lot of classification tracks here and holding tracks for modern trains, which I guess is pretty typical, where you find like grain trains and mixed freights and double stack container trains. There's a station down in the front here for your passengers to drop by.
Yeah. All these switches are hand built.
Yes.
With there's no patterns. They're all scratch built, and the two ends of the yard I had built previously and wanted to incorporate them into this layout. So it's almost a module, three modules put together really, with a curved section in the middle.
So the yard throat is down at this end. I see all the tracks are coming together, and you have a locomotive facility in the back.
Yeah. And that large background building is one of my kit bashes.
Yeah. And then you kept the roof off the building over there, so there's lots of light. You can see inside what's going on.
Yeah.
And big SD90 Max. You got quite the panel here. You've designed that yourself?
Yeah.
Can you use this to sort of describe how you operate the yard and how it works?
Well, I have track one is one of those crew change tracks where so I've designed it for I like long coal trains, so I had two C44-9s with 24 coal cars.
Yep.
Most of my passing sidings are based on that length.
Okay.
So that will fit that. The other ones are classification tracks, some industrial switching in the back. The LEDs show you which way the turnout is thrown. And the red buttons are, I make my own electromagnet uncouplers, And so that's what these are. We'll power that uncoupler, and I've put ties, if you pan over here, on the beside where those uncouplers are.
Okay, so they're buried underneath the track there. So now we're heading out onto the double track main line here, and I see a Sklar facility. Nice Sklar car. Looks like what is it, plastics or chemicals?
Plastic pellet.
Really?
In behind there, that's in behind is the ethanol plant, and that's going to be partly scratch built. And you see here again, we have an electromagnet underneath there.
Okay. And that looks like some titchy tanks.
Titchy tanks. I chopped the grain bins in half.
Yes.
To give me more of them
against
the backdrop, and with the amount of space, I wanted an ethanol plant. It's a nice modern facility.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the process of scratch building that.
Yeah. And you've got some loaders here.
Yeah, again, scratch built or kit bashed into two.
It's one of those Walther's fuel loading stand systems, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see you have a nice photo over there against the wall to get you some idea of what things should look like.
Give me an idea, yeah, how ethanol is transferred through the facility.
And then from there we head out into the countryside. When you go along the main line, you find unusual little structures. This one looks like it's seen better days.
Actually, it's a structure I inherited from a friend, Bob Farquhar.
Yes.
And it's more scenery type structure.
Mm-hmm. That's quite something. This is an impressive structure.
This is another kit bashed, and you probably, for those of you who recognize the Walther's mining kit.
Yeah, Red River Mine.
Red River Mining is in there, and Glacier Gravel Company is in there.
Okay.
I've combined the two kits to create what you see.
Yeah. Lots of hopper cars. Trains can come in, and the locomotives can run around.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Lots of coal. In the foreground here we've got some real vertical depth in the layout here with a trestle and some rock cuts and tunnel work. So here we are really getting into the Rocky Mountains, I guess.
Yeah, this is my, I don't know if you want to call it the signature scene. I wanted something when you come into the layout room that the wow effect, I guess, if you want to call it. You know, floor to ceiling type scenery.
Yeah.
The lower level is a total loop in itself. It's a dog bone with two reverse loops in it. So you can, I wanted to just have a train run, and the Rocky Mountaineer is a tour train in the Rockies that I required, and it just runs on its own level continuously. You don't have to really do anything with it, and it snakes in and out of the layout.
Right.
Nobody really knows where it's going to come out next. So it will go
it's
from
an
the upper
animated scenic effect.
Animated scenic effect, that's a good word for it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then that allows you to operate the other train while you have something running continuously.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And I see you have the snow shed over here, which you typically find in the high mountains.
Yeah. 630 pieces of lumber you need to cut in that, I think.
Wow, that's really something. Very nicely done. Here we are on the other side of the peninsula past the snow shed, and it looks like a really fantastic bridge.
It's another deep cut.
The lower levels where that Rocky Mountaineer comes out, I guess, is
yeah,
it?
exactly, yeah.
See, you got the waterway you're working on there.
Yeah, we haven't I've never done any water yet, so
Yeah.
we're leaving that until the end.
Have to see a few examples that other people are doing, get some advice.
And if you pan across, you can kind of see the effect I was talking about earlier, where you're looking over at eye level, you look over the mountains and then you see the backdrop in the background, and you get that depth effect of from mountain ridge to mountain ridge.
That's terrific. What's the manufacturer of that bridge kit that you've got there, the single track?
This is a Central Valley kit.
Central Valley.
150 foot.
Very nice.
And this is an interesting little thing. I found the Algoma Central has a camping tour that they do.
Yeah.
What you can do is rent a caboose for a week.
Yeah.
And they'll take you out and set you on some siding somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So I thought that'd be a nice little operating effect where, you know, you take a caboose and you bring somebody out there and you switch the caboose out and then bring them back.
Yeah. That's what you can do with your operators who fail to set the turnouts back to the main. You send them out in the caboose and let them sit there for the rest of the night. So as we move along this wonderful mountain scene, and we come around the curve from the peninsula, suddenly the scenery ends and we're where most of us are, in the building of our layout, where we are in the process of developing ideas and themes. So you can see the style of bench work that you've constructed here. It's all done with plywood, with risers, cork road bed and track. Eh?
Yeah.
This is a nice kit that you're in the process of putting together. It looks like a lumber facility.
Sawmill.
Yeah. Wow, that's really a large one too.
This, I don't know if you can see here, but these are the turnouts I make. What I do is I mill down this homosote, mill down to the thickness of cork.
Yep.
So it matches up to the cork, and then I build the turnout at the bench, and I glue it in place.
Okay. You use any jigs or anything, or are they just all handmade?
They're all handmade. They're you can see there's curved turnouts that I like the idea that you don't have to make the layout fit the turnout. You can make the turnout fit the layout.
Yes. And you got another town here.
Yeah, I have, so this is more of a switching area.
Yep.
There's the panel that I've worked on. Again, there's all the magnets, electromagnets in certain spots for uncoupling, runaround track. So that's something somebody can switch here for an operating session.
So you really haven't developed an operating plan yet, and in terms of numbers of trains and things like that?
No, we've had a couple of evenings where we got together, but more of take a train and go switch the mine or type thing. And,
that's all right. That's where you have to start.
Yeah.
That way you figure out what works and what doesn't.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's something very unusual you don't see in people's basements every day. It's a full-size switch stand. That's kind of unique. How in the world did you ever get that down the stairs?
Well, 3 people and a fridge cart. It weighs about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be a nice little yard garden type of ornament.
Yeah.
But I thought, what am I going to do with this thing? And I thought, well, wouldn't that be unique to have it on the layout?
On the layout.
So it actually...
You're going to have to explain that one.
it actually operates a turnout.
Yeah.
So I have a mechanism down below that And although the yellow handle is not prototypical,
Yeah.
you run it into it enough times with your knee, you know why it's yellow.
Yes. So you give us a throw there. Let's just see how it works. And you lift it up, bring it across, and down it goes.
Down it goes. And
the paddle moves and everything. And
yeah,
I'm going to go over here just so we're not faking people out here. And I'm going to try to get the paddle in here, the signboard, and I'm going to get the turnout. And just turn it really slowly, and I'm going to go zooming in here, and you can see it move. That's slick. And then go back again one more time. That's incredible. Not everybody has one of those on the railroad, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to do it for every switch.
No, but it fits in this area, so.
Yeah, well, it's a real conversation piece, that's for sure. So I see you've got some of the track laid through this section of the layout. It's the other side of the second peninsula, and it winds around. So what's your plan here?
Paper mill in this area.
Yeah.
And more into the bigger city, the Vancouver idea.
Yes.
Here you can see the lower level where it comes down from the upper level into a
reverse loop.
Reverse loop.
Yeah.
So you can reverse and then come back up and go back up to the upper level. As you come across there through that wall is planned staging.
Mm-hmm.
So the staging coming into Edmonton, or
it's on the other side of this.
On the other side of this, we'll go in behind that. And then this way will be.
And then you've got some cutouts here for your.
Yeah, this will be a container yard.
Container yard.
This boat is actually a radio control boat. It's a 1 to 90th scale.
Yeah.
That I inherited from my father that never ended up building it. And it actually fits really well, so we're going to have a little bit of a seawall with it's an ocean-going tug.
Sure, it looks really nice. You going to cut the hull off at the bottom to set it in place, or are you going to cut the hole in the layout?
I'm going to cut the hole in the layout.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's such a nice model. It's a beauty. So here we are, and there's a little lift-out bridge like some of us always require in order to get into our layout space, and it brings us right back into the main yard in Edmonton.